Welcome to the lecture on Bitwise Operators. Let's look at the deliverables that we'll be creating part of this. We'll learn to use the Bitwise operator and then we'll create this file. So before that, we'll discuss something about Bitwise operators, then we'll jump into it because it requires some knowledge on Bitwise operators works and what is the processing that is happening in the background. So I'm going to copy paste some of the operators and also how this bit works. Okay. Let's understand this slowly and then we're going to jump into doing some exercises on this. So there are many bitwise operators. For this example, we'll use AND, OR, XOR and NOT. Okay, the NOT basically works on one operator like plus plus and minus minus, which is a unary operator. So let's look at how bits work. So bits basically are nothing but zeros and one. Okay, and everything that we have on our ASCII characters or the characters that you type is converted into a bits because computer only understands zeros and ones. So everything instructions that you're giving to computer are basically converted into zeros and ones. So everything can be represented with something called as bits, which is a notation of zeros and ones, right? So when you want to operate on that level at zeros and ones level, you use something called as bitwise operator. So let's look at integers. Okay, left hand side I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are integer numbers, like the numbers that you see on the keyboard. The bitwise notation of this numerical numbers are, if it's 0 then it's 4 zeros, if it's 1 then it's 0 0 0 1, if it's 2 it's 0 0 1 0, if it's 3 and then so forth, right? So if you want to play around with bits, you basically play around with zeros and ones. Okay, so remember, as of now, for every integer or character or anything that you instruction you pass it to computer is first converted into bits, and then you want to operate on the bits, you basically use these operators. And this operator works not on the value but they work on the bits, and each numerical value, as we have taken an example of 0 to 5, we have listed out the bits value for it. Okay, then we'll do some operation on these variables and see how the bitwise operator will work. Okay, so let's look at the operation here. If it is 1 and 1, okay, 1 and 1 is 1, true and true is true, 0 and 0, false and false is 0, 0 and 1, false and true is false, true and false is false. Okay, so only the 1 and 1 basically are equal to 1. Let's say you want to apply a bitwise operator on 1 and 0. Basically you are comparing the first bits of this, okay, 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 is 0, 0 0 is 0, 0 0 is 0 and 0 0 is 0. So that's how the bitwise operator will work. So let's take a look at an example here. So I'm going to say first is 0 and 0's bitwise operator is 0 0 0 0. And second, let's say I will assign a value of 1. The bits notation of 1 is 0 0 0 1. Okay, now let's apply the bitwise operator on these variables and we'll see what will happen. Okay, so let's assign a bitwise operator. We'll say echo first, second, okay. Let's execute this, then I'll explain you how it actually works. Okay, the value is 0 and now you have no idea why it's 0, right? So let's look into that. So the first variable is 0, right? So we say 0 0 0 0 and 0 0 0 1. That's basically the bitwise notation and this is a bitwise operator. Okay, now the first operator will work on bits, right? So 0 and 0, then it's again say and 0 and 0, then we'll say 0 and 0 and we'll say 0 and 1. Okay, and if you look at all the zeros and 1, that's an AND operator, right? Here we say AND operator, right? So AND basically will say first one is 0, second one is 0, third one is 0, fourth one is 0, because false and true is again false, right? False or is true, but false and true is basically false because both has to be true. So it's all zeros, and because it's 0, the numerical value of all zeros are 0. Okay, let's take another example. Let's put 2 and 3. Okay, just to see some variation. And bitwise for 2 is basically 0 1 0, that's from here, and 3 is 0 0 1 1. Okay, let's do the same operation and let's compare the output, then we'll talk about it. So this time it's 2, right? So let's look at why is this true. So first, the 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1 1. Okay, now let's do each of the bits, 0 and 0. So I'm taking the first bit here, first bit here, the first bit here, and the first bit here. Then you say 1, then there'll be a 1 here. Okay, then and again 0 of 0. Next is 1 of 0, 1 of 1. Then you have 0 of 1. Okay, that will result us into 0 0 1 0. Right, and 0 0 1 0 from our table is basically 2. That's why the value 2 has been printed. Okay, so it's operating on the bits. And let's say you want to do some other transactions. Let's say we want to do OR operations, right? We want to do OR on the bits. You have the operators here. Let's do a quick review: OR, XOR, and NOT. So we're going to do an XOR here. So this character can be found on keyboard 6. Then you have the NOT character. Then you have NOT operator, which works like your plus plus and minus minus, like an unary operator. So it doesn't operate on 2 variables, it operates on 1 operand, which basically like this. Make this. So the first one, let's do a quick review. So you have 0 0 1 0, so it's basically 0 and 1, right? 0 and 1 this time will be 1, right? And here the 0 and 1 will result into 1, and 1 and 1 will result into 0. It's basically a NOT, so it's a reverse one. If it's true, it becomes false. If it's false, it becomes true. Okay, this is inverting the bit. If 0, then it will be 1, or if it's 1, then it's 0. Okay, it's actually reversing the bits. Okay, the inverse, the NOT operator will reverse the bits. So if you have 0 0 1, it becomes 1 1 1 0. Okay, it just reverse the bits. The OR, the NOT operator, if it's true, it becomes false. If it's false, it becomes true. The OR operator, if 0 is 1, then any 1 is true, it becomes true. Okay, so let's execute this. That's the value when you have OR operator, XOR operator, and the NOT operator. Well, to work around with bits, you have to remember how the bits notation of that value and what operator you want to apply on that bits. Okay, this is a very helpful topic when you understand how bitwise works. So I'll highly recommend you do some exercises here and play around and understand how bits work here. Okay, so that's all this lecture on bitwise operator, and I'll see you in the next one.